Welcome in, guys. As always, I am Pookie. I am your Platinum Paladin. And today, guys, we are back trying to answer that one wonderful question with another game. That's right, guys. Should you Platinum Resident Evil 3? Let's get right into it. Alright, gang, as always, as our reviews tend to go with trophy lists, as we try to answer that question, we are going to break down each trophy, if there are any little stipulations or any challenges, anything involved that might kind of, I guess, create a trophy score for this sort of thing. Honestly, guys, it's going to be pretty interesting. I know a lot of games, even up to this point, that we've covered, whether it be RE2, Elden Ring, trophy previews, what have you. They have campaign progression, but there's also usually some collectibles or some hard mode stuff. I did mention Elden Ring, did I not? All right, guys, so we're gonna go ahead and just break this down one little piece at a time. So I did mention, of course, campaign progressions. Right at the top of the list, we have our platinum, but then we do have the campaign progression. So these little milestones, as you end up going through the game, you're going to receive those, you know, getting through the clock tower, stuff like that. We do come across our first insane, like, I'm surprised it's actually so high up here on the list in terms of sorting. Dominator, that is to complete the game on Inferno. Inferno is the hardest difficulty that Resident Evil 3 the remake has to offer, whether you're playing on PS4 or PS5. Yes, I did almost say PS3, I'm sorry. But yes, Inferno, while we're here, we might as well just talk about the toughness that is Inferno. Of course, you'll get your campaign progression just by going on normal and, you know, doing a first playthrough, but Inferno mode does require that you pretty much beat every difficulty leading up to it. Now, there is a caveat. You can use infinite weapons, you can use unlocks, you can use anything you need to do to get the job done, and I can assure you, in a lot of cases, it might take all of that stuff just to get the job done. A fresh new game on Inferno is not to be trifled with, and even a fresh new game with an infinite rocket launcher is still daunting on this difficulty. So be very prepared. That will be most likely one of the last trophies you get in this list, but it will be satisfying when you do it. Couple more things about Inferno before we move on. That is manual saves. That's right, manual saves. So no checkpoints or anything like that. And enemies move ridiculously fast, namely Nemesis himself. It is insane. Like, saddle up if you plan on doing an Inferno run or completing the list, because that's gonna be a big one. Moving right along, though, of course, these are almost campaign progression here. I mean, you can probably go through the whole game without crafting an item, but why would you when you can make bullets, when you can make health? Improving weapons is also going to come second nature. Upping your inventory, so I believe there's a room that just has one of these packs laying there. You don't even have to, like, open a safe or anything to get one of these packs. Now, here is an optional trophy right here, Nemesis down, and that's causing Nemesis to drop an item. In a lot of cases I found in playthroughs, if you can just tag him with a hand grenade, you're pretty much guaranteed he's gonna go down. He's gonna drop you a nice giant briefcase, and you can get in there and just loot that reward, because why not? Nemesis down, question mark, fighting him on the rooftop. That's basically a milestone point in the game, so you will get that as campaign progression. Placing all the jewels in the clock tower monument is another optional one. This requires at the beginning, when you're in town, to kind of look around a little bit. Use those bolt cutters, guys. Use that lockpick. Maximize that stuff so that you can get all of those power stones, use them on that little monument there at the beginning, and get some good rewards. I think those can actually lead to some other trophies as well, so make sure you're doing your due diligence there in town and exploring. Now, next up, we've got the Carlos Express. This is, of course, campaign progression, as is the unfortunate end for dropping Zombie Brad. Yeah. Brad does answer at least one question about Resident Evil 2, which is kind of cool. I know this game's been out for a little while now, but if this is your first time watching the video, heck, maybe you're getting geared up for Resident Evil 4 remake, jumped on a Capcom sale, and happened to get Resident Evil 3. I don't want to spoil too much for you. I just want to lend a hand with what you may have to do as far as the old trophy list and whether or not you should see it through to the end. Now, we talked a little bit about Inferno mode earlier. Complete the game with an S rank on Inferno. Now, I believe I'm right, because it took a long time for me to get this. I believe you can actually save your game up to 3 times. 3 points throughout Inferno mode. Inferno mode, as I mentioned, is the hardest difficulty in the game. You can use infinites and still get the S rank, but what you gotta be smart about is the simple fact that you're not gonna get a checkpoint reload, so you need to decide where you're going to use these saves. And what Inferno mode does is changes up the enemy positions and placements. So sure, you might have gone through standard and hardcore mode 80 times. Yeah, those enemies aren't gonna be the same throughout. So like I said earlier, talking about Inferno mode, gear up. Spend some time unlocking some infinites if it's going to be your first outing. If you're feeling gutsy, go to town. Inferno without infinites is a wild experience. It's very hard, but it is very satisfying. So if you want to try it that way, give it a shot, man. It gets kind of crazy though. All right, withstanding the zombie siege. This is another campaign progression. You find yourself playing as Carlos to take out a bunch of zombies. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Another campaign progression one following Nikolai underground. Now, when you do go underground, there is a section where you have to gather 3 fuses, as you can see here by the screenshot. If you gather those quickly, which means no messing around, stopping to shoot a bunch of dudes or anything like that, you get them super quick, you will bag this trophy. So put your speedrun boots on, Joe Valentine fans. It's actually a lot easier than one would think, especially if you get your lay of the land of the room first and then go ahead and reload your game later. So yeah. Nemesis down once again. A stage 2 Nemesis and a stage 3 Nemesis. These are campaign progression. So just by playing the game, just by completing the game, you are going to get these ones. And then we have our Charlie doll. These are 2 types of collectibles, or one of 2 types of collectibles in the game. They're little statues. Originally started out they're like action figures, but it started out with Resident Evil 7, then Resident Evil 2 make has them, and now Resident Evil 3 and Village have them as well. I fully expect we're gonna get something like this in Resident Evil 4 make when it drops as well, so stay tuned, because we will be previewing that list, and I guarantee there's gonna be some dolls we gotta hunt down. 2-for-1 deal, dropping 2 enemies in a single shot. This should be as easy as hello 2 zombies, meet my shotgun. Greet them to the boomstick, and that should be a very easy optional trophy for you as you play through the game. Reading all the story files, this is the other collectible. So where you got the Charlie dolls on one side, you're doing all of the story files as well, so you want to go ahead and do that. Anytime you see a document on the ground, go ahead and pick it up, read it, just to make sure that Jill files it. I guess there are a few more collectibles in the run, or little kind of collectible-y things that you can do, but these are the two main ones, are the Charlie dolls and the story files. So I did mention before, weapons kind of fall in that realm of collectibles, as well as the Master of Unlocking, where you gotta basically exhaust the lockpick, open everything. Open all the safes in the game, including the Carlos sections, open all the lockers in the game, strong boxes, and of course the pickable locks, hence the Master of Unlocking. So those 4 that we just passed through, because Kendo's Armory, collect all the weapons you're gonna get while you're doing Master of Unlocking. Those are kind of, I guess I mentioned that we were only 2 collectibles, but I guess it would be up to 4 if you're filing that into that area. I personally don't. Like, unlocking all the safes is just kind of me running around exploring. That's not like, oh, the files, I have to pull up a walkthrough or something like that. So, now we have our difficulty achievements. Of course, beating the game on standard, beating the game on hardcore, of course, nightmare, beating the game with an S rank. Those are pretty self-explanatory. Just play the game. Now, completing the game with an S rank is actually a lot easier than it sounds. I believe that is also tied to how fast you beat the game, as well as how many saves. Resident Evil 3 does a lot of checkpointing for you, so you really shouldn't be making a whole lot of stops at the item box to do your thing. Or not at the item box, at the typewriter. But that does kind of go hand in hand with Minimalist. Minimalist and I might need these later should come in the same run, because you're going to be effectively managing your inventory. You probably don't want to be parading around with a whole bunch of health. This will most likely be an assisted run if you're focused on the trophies. That way you don't have to open the item box. What may even be better is doing assisted, but doing assisted with the infinite rocket launcher, just to really drive the point home. There are also some coins in the game that will restore your health. They're like passive restoration though, like regen. So if you have those in your inventory, those don't count against your I might need these later. And the last one, of course, is the speed run, completing the game in under 2 hours of playtime. Now, you can do this legitimate on standard. It is possible. It's actually really fun to at least attempt the run. Like, what's extra fun though is doing it New Game Plus on any difficulty with the rocket launcher. You'll find that you can beat this game in like 50 minutes. Like 59 minutes with a bazooka in your hand. So there's some winning to be had there. As well as some efficient running, I might add. So all right guys, we come down to the real talk here. The real talk, once you do all of that, boom, so long ORC, so long RC comes along, obtain all the trophies. All right, we've read over the list. Now, if you are on the Resident Evil hype bus right now, going for this platinum will be one of the easiest platinums in the series. So from my perspective, if you are looking for a pretty easy platinum and a really fun game, go for this one. Definitely platinum this one, because there are other Resident Evil games in the series that are going to take a lot more from you to pull the platinum. But I do want to hear from you guys. If you do have the platinum trophy in Resident Evil 3, did you think it was worth it? Did you think it was too easy? Or even more so, like, did you have to put the controller down? Was the game too hard? Like, was it just wrenching at you? I want to know what you guys think. As always, gang, if you did enjoy this video and you want to stay up to date with all things on my channel, you guys know what to do. Like, subscribe, and tag that bell. Have a good one, guys.